welcome to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into, well, some pretty familiar territory for many of us,
Yeah.
familial obligations. And the big question we're pulling from your shared material today is really this. What do you truly owe your family, if anything at all? To help us frame this, our word of the day is oblige. Which is great because it has this dual meaning, you know. It can mean you're required, maybe by law or just necessity, to do something. Or it can just mean doing someone a favor, willingly.
Yeah.
And the sources jump right in, showing how these different ideas really clash within families.
That's right. We're going to explore some really nuanced viewpoints here. Everything from, say, a technical kind of gratitude for existence,
Yeah.
all the way to that heavier feeling, that sense of perceived ownership that can sometimes creep into family dynamics.
Okay, ownership, like parents feeling they have some claim on their child's life.
Exactly. Their choices, maybe their time, even their feelings, just because they brought them into the world. It's a complex area.
So let's unpack that initial idea first. The sources mention that, technically kids don't owe anything just for being born without asking.
Okay.
I mean, you didn't sign up for it, right?
Right. But at the same time, most people do feel some kind of genuine gratitude, for the chance at life itself.
Mm-hmm. So how do we square that real appreciation, with the idea that maybe nothing is actually owed?
Well, the sources offer a really strong counterpoint here. They push back pretty hard against parents who might sort of dangle that idea, the whole "you owe me for being alive" thing. It's even called out as the worst reason to have children.
Wow, the worst reason. Why so strong?
Because, as the material argues, it degrades the experience of having children. It also sets a bad precedent. It fundamentally shifts parenthood away from unconditional love towards something transactional, like an investment expecting a return.
Right. And that teaches a tricky lesson about love maybe being something you earn or owe instead of something freely given.
Precisely. It introduces this sort of subtle emotional ledger keeping into relationships.
And sometimes this isn't subtle at all. There's that really powerful anecdote in the sources. A grandmother telling her grandchild, point blank, "Without me, there would not be you."
Oof. Yeah, that quote just cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? The sources connect that kind of statement to a strange sense of ownership, a really powerful psychological pull.
Okay.
And when that combines with what they call a need for control, it can leave children feeling, powerless.
Yeah.
The whole dynamic feels very taxing.
Taxing, yeah. I could see that, like a constant weight or pressure.
Exactly. The material talks about how this can lead to guilt, maybe stifled growth, or just emotional exhaustion from trying to meet perceived demands. It's sometimes called emotional enmeshment.
Where the lines get blurry between the parent and the child's own identity.
Mm-hmm. Making it hard for the child to really forge their own path.
Okay, so that's one kind of pressure stemming from that feeling of owing for existence itself.
Mm-hmm.
But the sources also point to another related scenario, right? The overly concerned parent.
Yes. And while that can also feel like a demand on your time or attention, the material acknowledges there can be some legitimacy there, especially when kids are younger. When children are actually under their parents' care, requiring reasonable contact from time to time makes sense.
Sure, during development.
But as kids grow into adults, the issue becomes balancing that genuine care with respecting their autonomy.
Huh.
It's a fine line.
And there's that visual description from the source material that really nails this idea. It describes a phone cord shaped like a heart and a calendar with "Call Mom" written 47 times.
Yeah, that image perfectly captures that feeling of being monitored that required contact.
It's almost like emotional surveillance, that constant little nudge to check in.
Mm-hmm. And it's this exact tension, this balancing act, that leads us perfectly into our quote of the day. It's from the poet Khalil Gibran. "Do not mistake duty for love or love for duty."
Ah, that's powerful. Do not mistake duty for love or love for duty.
It really encapsulates the whole dilemma, doesn't it? Are our actions rooted in genuine affection, just the joy of connection? Or are they driven by this, perhaps unconscious, sense of obligation? It really pushes us to examine the foundation of our family ties.
So, summing this up for you, our listener, we've looked at this really delicate balance. There's the gratitude we often feel for family, but also the potential for that to shift into a feeling of duty. And then the challenges that come with navigating control versus trying to build genuine connection.
And just understanding these different dynamics, the existential obligation versus the day-to-day expectations, it helps, I think. It helps us approach these relationships with a bit more awareness, maybe more intention, recognizing the whole spectrum of connection.
So, maybe a final thought to leave you with, building on Gibran's words.
As you go about your day, think about it. How do you, in your own life, tell the difference between genuine love and that weight of obligation? What feels like a freely given gift and what feels more like a demand, whether it's spoken or unspoken? Something to reflect on.